Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. So in this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make the modest version of that yellow dress. Okay, as you can see, the pink one is the one that I made. So this is ML Clothing YouTube channel where we teach you how to use patterns to create unlimited design. Do what to subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, okay? So this is me cutting the flare, the cape side that is flare, and you're going to be seeing how I came about the pattern in this video, okay? So keep watching to the end while I show you everything that you need to know to make this dress look beautiful. So let's head straight to the pattern drafting. First, you'll be needing your basic bodies, okay? And this is my basic bodies front. You'll be needing from the top to your hemline, wherever you want it to stop. Okay. Of course, I have my waistline and my neckline is still in the basic. I have my dart, my waist dart, and my side post dart. Okay. So I haven't done this now. So we'll also be needing also our back bodies. This is my back bodies. Okay. Please watch carefully. I also be needing back bodies right now. Everything I need my dart to my full hem for the back bodies. And the next thing we'll be needing is also our sleeve. Okay. Here is my long sleeve pattern. Okay. So now I'm gonna have to set the back pattern aside. Now I want to join my front bodies and the long sleeve together. So what am I going to do? I've labeled front and back. So I'll take the armhole area of my front sleeve and attach it to the armhole area of my back bodies, of my front body, sorry. The armhole area on the front sleeve, attach it to the armhole area of the front bodies, just like I'm doing right now. Okay, you want to label front and back on your sleeve and also your center so you know what you're doing. Having done that now, this is what you should be having. Next, I'm going to be placing my back bodies to the back sleeve like the way I did to the front. I'm going to be placing my back bodies to the back sleeve armhole just like I did to the front. And you're going to be having something like this. Do not try to force this V opening close. No, please do not try to force it close. Okay, just let it lay flat. Make sure everything is laid flat and nice. I'm going ahead to label back bodies, front bodies, okay? And of course my sleeve, center. I'm labeling everything so I'm very sure and I do not mix up my patterns. So this whole thing now is what it looks like, okay? The next thing we're going to do now is the fact that I'm going to be getting the modest part of it. Will I call it a yoke? I don't know, you can call it a yoke, but the orange color part of it, that's the part I'm marking out now. So I've marked 6 inches, okay? And I'm going to be kind of drawing it from my front neckline like so. I've marked 6 inches there and I'm going to be giving it a very nice curve shape like this. So for the center of my sleeve, I'm going to be using 3 inches. So for the center of my sleeve, I'm using 3 inches. Now I'm going to be connecting these lines like so. And this is what it looks like. So heading over to the back now, I'm also going to be marking the midpoint of my shoulder. I actually want to get the midpoint of my shoulder. So from that midpoint, moving over to the back, I'm also going to be marking 6 inches from the back. It looks like I actually marked 5, but whatever, you just have to mark somewhere that, 6 or 5 inches. That was what I used. And I'm connecting it down to that 3 inches point at the center of the sleeve. So this is what that yoke part looks like. Sorry, I didn't know I wasn't filming. I already cut out that yoke part and attached some things. I didn't know I wasn't filming, but I'm going ahead to explain this part very well now. Please listen attentively. Now, this is what that yoke part looks like. Okay? This is what that yoke part looks like when it was still there. This is what it looks like. Do not worry, I'm going to explain. Please, I didn't know I was not filming. So I'm going to explain now. This is what that yoke part looked like. Of course, right? That was what we had initially. So I went ahead to use my scissors to cut it out. Right? Because it's in a different whole ball game. I had to cut it out. We're using a different color for it. Okay? So I had to use my scissors to get it off. Please, this is how it was initially, okay? I had to use my scissors to cut it out. This is the back, okay? And this is the front, okay? So when we are joining, we just kind of join from the shoulder all the way to the cap sleeve. Okay, so we'll set this aside now. All right, back and front, we'll set it aside. Now let me explain the cape part of it. Let me explain the flare, the cape part of it. This is what I did. On my front bodies, I had to indicate my waistline because I'm taking very note of the waistline. Now I marked 3 inches upwards from my waistline, which is that very line you're seeing now. Okay. I also indicated my center sleeve and I marked 7 inches from the top all the way to the down part of my center sleeve. Okay, and I connected it like so. Now you see, as I was connecting, there is a hole. This is where my sleeve line is. And this is where my basic front bodice line ended. Now this other part is an additional pattern paper. I added an additional pattern paper to be able to contain this excess. That place I marked as terrace is a kind of an excess. So I added an additional pattern paper to contain that excess. I wasn't filming, please, I didn't know. So I added an additional paper to contain that excess. Same thing to the back. I came up from the waistline by 2.5 inches. Okay, and of course we connected it to the 7 inches at the center of the sleeve. I also added an additional pattern paper because look at that thing I'm drawing now is the actual back bodice and sleeve. Now look at the excess of it. That was why I added an additional pattern paper. So I hope that is understandable. Please, if you have any question, leave a comment in the comment section. This whole place that I'm marking and I'm dotting now is my cape. And I am going ahead to trace it out and then we'll have it on a separate pattern because we are not going to discard our front and back bodies. We still need it and you'll see that as we go ahead in this tutorial. So I'm going ahead to trace out the whole of that cape on a fresh pattern paper, okay? Because of our darts, which we are going to sew on the main bodies where this cape is going to fall on. That is why we need to trace it out and not cut it directly on our original pattern. So I'm going ahead to trace it out and I'll come back and show you guys. So now I've done the tracing. Let's place it on the original, the foundation pattern. So I've done the tracing and I've placed it on the original pattern, our foundation pattern, and this is what it looks like. Please, you have to trace accurately. I do not impute the dart because we are going to be slashing and spreading to form flare. So that is not necessary. I marked every notch. I marked my center. I marked the part where the back armhole is. I marked the center sleeve and also the part where the front armhole joined the sleeve. I didn't put the dart because that is not necessary. It is a flare. Okay. So I marked every notch on the traced cape pattern. You have to do that because when you are joining, it's going to be very necessary. Please. So having done that, I'll set the cape pattern aside. I'm showing you guys what it looks like. I'll set it aside and I'll go ahead to, remove this whole stuff, dismantle it so we can separate it and have it the way we want to use it to cut it on our fabric. So I've dismantled the front, okay? And this is going to be our current front pattern. The only thing I have to do now is to remove my darts, okay? So let me also go ahead and dismantle the back from the whole thing we did. Can you see that excess I told you guys that I added is still there? It's not part of the original, of the foundation pattern. I added it to contain the excess of the cape, okay? That was why I added it. So for the sleeve also, I'm going ahead to detach that excess from the sleeve so we have just our sleeve there. So this is what it looks like. And that's what I'm going ahead to do right now. Can you see? I've removed those excess and our patterns. So this is our sleeve. This is the sleeve we are using for this dress. Okay. This is what our sleeve looks like. This is the sleeve we are using for this dress. Now this is our front. What we are going to do is to remove the dart because we are going to be sewing up the dart on our fabric to get our fitted bodies. We are going to be sewing up the dart. So I've removed the side bust dart and I'll go ahead to remove the waist dart, okay? If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do want to subscribe. Click the like button, share this video to other platforms where it will be needed. Thank you so much. So I'm removing the dart. You want to remove it this way because we're actually going to be placing this on our fabric and we're going to be marking out the dart, which I will be showing you in this video as we go on. So here I've removed it, okay? And also same thing we'll be doing to the back. We are going to be removing the dart for the back, okay? The same thing we are going to do to the back. You want to carefully cut out this dart because that is what is going to give the fit of your garment. If you cut it in a haste and you cut where you're not supposed to cut, you'll be having some kind of tacky garment or tacky dress. So you have to cut the dart accordingly to what you marked. So here is it now. I'm cutting out the dart, of course. So I've cut out the dart of the back and this is our actual back bodies. So the next thing we'll do now is to cut it on the fabric, which I'm going to do with you guys. Now I've placed this on the fabric. I'm going to have to use my pen at the back, the wrong side of the fabric, at the back, please. I used my pen to mark my darts. Please do this at the back. If you have a chalk that you're sure that your chalk can write properly, it's not too bold, so it doesn't add up to the darts. You can also use your chalk. So I'm marking my side seam allowance and I'll go ahead to cut this out right now. Okay. So I haven't done this now, I'll just go ahead and cut it out. Like the way we do our normal cutting, okay? You add side seam allowance and then you go ahead and of course cut it out. That's what I'm doing right now, cutting it out accordingly. Add ½ inch to the top and the side of that part of your bodies that looks like an off shoulder, the part I'm cutting right now. So having done this now, can you see the darts there? We turn it over to also mark the dart on the other side. Please, you turn it over to mark the dart on the other side, okay? Now I've turned it over and I'm going to mark the dart to the other side. Here I went ahead to indicate where my waist started, okay? So I know how to sew up when I'm sewing up my dart. So this is our front bodies with our darts imputed. So while sewing, we just sew up the darts. So the next thing now, I'm going ahead to cut out the back also. So same thing we did to the front. For the back, if you watch carefully, you'll find out that I have an overlapped slit for my back. I have an overlapped slit. So I'm going to show you guys how I did that. I don't want a situation whereby when I'm walking, my laps are showing. So since this dress is modest, it has to be modest to the core. So now I'm marking 1 inch, which is my zipper allowance, okay? 1 inch all the way, which is my zipper allowance. And on the part where I want my slit to start, I marked an additional 3 inches to that 1 inch, which is going to be the inwardness of my slit. So I believe by 3 inches inward is going to be okay. It won't be showing my lap. So it's that 3 inches that I have to cut so before cutting the 1 inch all the way upwards, like so. Please, I hope you guys understand clearly. So here it is now. I'm going ahead to cut off the side like so. If you have any question, please drop a comment in the comment section and I'll reply you ASAP. I'm going ahead to cut it out like so. So same thing we did to the front, we are going to be turning over to mark the dart on the other side, okay? We just turn over and mark the dart on the other side. This is a very beginner friendly project. So having done that now, the next thing we are going to do is to cut out our cape. You just have to slash and spread, okay? Slash and spread in a way you'll be having fullness. The normal way we do the slash and spread, okay? That's what we are going to be doing here. If you want a detailed tutorial on this, please drop a comment in the comment section and I will link you to a video where I actually did this. properly, okay? But I think there's nothing else here. It's just to cut and slash and spread on your fabric. Those notches that I marked, I also marked them out, okay? So now this is the sewing process. I've sewn up my darts for the front, and also I've sewn up my darts for the back. I went ahead to join also for the overlap that I told you guys about. I'm going to be stitching on top of that piece. So the next thing we are doing now is to join our front and back together, right side facing right side. I'm going to be stitching by the sides, okay? So this is it. I'm done stitching it by the side. The next step now is to fix our sleeve. As you can see, these notches I marked also on the sleeve. So I'm going to be picking the side which is for the front, and I'll be sewing it all the way to my side seam, okay? I also pick for the back and stitch all the way to my side seam, following the notches that I marked, please. So I'm gonna have to fix up my sleeves, okay? I'm gonna have to fix up my sleeves. Now the next thing we are going to do is to attach our cape. We're going to fix our cape, okay? So now remember that I marked my center notch, as you can see there, and I'm going to be fixing my cape starting from that very center notch, okay? And I'll make sure that every notch on my cape aligns with the notch on my bodice, because they are the same thing. Every notch on the cape has to align with the notch on your bodice. You want to use a pin and hold it down before you sew. So having sewn all the parts of the cape, this is what it looks like. We'll now go ahead to attach the yoke or the modest part of it. So before you attach your yoke, you want to firstly join the front and back together on their shoulder and the cap sleeve area. You want to join them together first, like so, before you attach. And after that, you affix your zipper, and this is what you'll have.